Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Charles in Charge Cowboys Sports Report. It is a little bit past midnight, making it June 24th, going into a Saturday morning. If you have not subscribed and you are tuning in, I implore you hit that red subscribe button. It is free. It costs you nothing. It's an investment on your part, a free investment. Because when I hit 1,000 subscribers, this show will blossom like a freaking diamond flower. I'm telling you right now, I'll have the microphone, the studio equipment, the sound bites, the desktop just for this with film and graphics, and a call-in line. I'll probably get a call-in line before the 1,000. My goal is to reach 1,000 by week 1, September 10th against the Giants, guys. I can get there with y'all's help. With y'all's help only. 30 years of this team in my head, playing this game, my entire youth, being a student of the game since I could catch a football at 3 years old. I'll give y'all great content every show. I put everything I got into this. I put like 2 hours of work into a video right now before I put one up. It's just my Galaxy and I right now. I'm going to hit on what Tank Lawrence said the other day, yesterday, the day before, about Philly, saying that he don't feel like, he says, I don't feel like it's a huge gap at all. I could break that statement down into 3 different sections. And I'm going to get right to it. And these talking heads on TV don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm going to prove my case. But right before we get in all this, it's going to be rich. Y'all going to like it. On the count of 3, DC Nation, we all brothers and sisters for the same cause. We all blue. We all bleed blue and silver. On the count of 3, if y'all can hit that red subscribe button. It seems to work for Mike Fisher, guys. 1, 2, 3, boom. If you hit the red subscribe button, you're a real one, and I love you for it. On the count of 3, if we can hit that like button, like Mike Fisher says, helps beat the algorithms. Helps YouTube get your videos showed more. So on the count of 3, if we can press that like button, guys. 1, 2, 3, boom. If you pressed it, you're a real one, and I love you for it. Trust me, when this channel gets to where it's going to go, you will be happy that you invested your time into watching it and subscribing it to it. This is just the tip of the spear. It's going to get a lot better than this. So, Colin Cowherds has his idea of what he feels about Tank Lawrence saying, I don't feel like it's a huge gap at all between Philly and the Cowboys. Let's just hear what he has to say.
He's really good. We got some breaking news we'll get to shortly. We'll start with the NFL. Eagles and Cowboys. Rivalry continues to heat up this offseason. Both teams won a ton of games last year. They are the only NFC East with the divisions with multiple 12-game winners. However, Philly came out on top and advanced to the Super Bowl yesterday. DeMarcus Lawrence talked about the 2 NFC East rivals.
All right. I don't feel like it's a huge gap at all. I feel like it comes down to, certain details of not just the scheme, but also, your locker room. I feel like, through this time right now, when we headed the training camp, that, we make those adjustments, we learn those different things that we need to learn about our team, that we can, fully function the way we should out there on the field.
That's
okay,
right.
Timeout. Philadelphia's better at quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, and O-line. It ain't that close.
Did you hear what he just said? Colin Cowherds. Let's hear that one more time, Colin.
Fully function the way we should out there on the field.
Ridiculous.
Okay, timeout. Philadelphia's better at quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, and O-line. It ain't that close.
So they're better at quarterback, tight end, wide receiver, and O-line. Right off the cuff. Ain't even that close. Jalen Hurts did go to the Super Bowl last year on the precept that he averaged 20 carries a game. He was only in his 3rd season. He didn't play much of his rookie year. He cannot sustain that 20 carries a game for a long time. Probably not this season, especially that he's making $50 million a year now. And that was the key to that offense. See what else Mr. Cowherd has to say. And this is just one of many.
Philadelphia, first of all, has a
tight ends the last 10 years. Wide receiver, they're better. They have 2 number ones. The Cowboys have 1-1, and he's like a CeeDee Lamb's like an okay one.
So nowhere on offense are the Cowboys.
Nowhere.
Okay, so Philly has 2 number ones. I can see that. Don't disagree with that. Cowboys have 1 number one, and he is kind of barely, if you want to call him a number one, what do you say?
The Cowboys have 1-1, and he's like a CeeDee Lamb's like an okay one.
So no.
CeeDee Lamb is like an okay number one. Even though after a poor start, a poor first 6-7 games, he finishes the season with over 100 catches, 1,350 yards, and however many tubs that he had got last season. Only the third Cowboy NFL and Cowboy history to have 100 balls in a season. Only Irvin and Witten have done that. And the Cowboys have 2 number ones on this team. Brandon Cooks has been a number one his entire career. He's been a number one on all 5 teams he's been on. He was number one for New Orleans, their number one receiver. He was number one for New England. He was their number one guy. He goes to the Rams. He's their number one receiver. He goes to Houston. He's their number one receiver. Gets 1,000 yards with Watson. Watson gets in trouble. In 2021, he gets 1,000 yards with rookie Davis Mills. Now, you got to be a good receiver to be able to get over 1,000 yards with a daisy fresh rookie that didn't even know that he's going to be playing until the starter gets in trouble but right before the season starts. We have 2 number ones. You could say CeeDee Lamb is a bona fide number one alpha male that's getting better. And Brandon Cooks is a okay number one. You know, maybe not a, strong number one, but we have 2 number ones also. Let's finish and hear what he's got to say, Mr. Cowher.
Nowhere on offense are the Cowboys.
Nowhere.
What about head coach?
Well, again, they're 2 offensive guys. 1-1, and he's like a CeeDee Lamb's like an okay one.
An
So
okay
nowhere
one.
on offense are the Cowboys.
Nowhere.
What about head coach?
Nowhere on offense
Well,
for
again,
it.
they're 2 offensive guys. Sirianni's been a shockingly good coach. McCarthy's probably better than anybody wants to admit. Let's just say that's a draw.
Okay. Defense.
Jalen Hurts and Dak. Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback.
I mean, let's go to the defense. Is Dallas better anywhere? Other than not individual players, but like the defensive line. Obviously, Parsons is great.
No, I think Philadelphia's
got one of the best defensive lines.
and Philadelphia also has, don't they, better corners.
Yeah, Dallas upgraded. That one might be, we'll give them a wash. But
Tell me where Dallas is. I'm not saying that Micah Parsons may not be the best player between the 2 teams. That could be possible. But I'm saying find me a unit where Dallas is clearly better. It doesn't exist.
Okay. All right. I got you there.
Here's some advice.
A unit where Dallas is clearly better. Dallas is clearly better at the safety position. They're clearly better at the linebacker position. They're clearly better at the running back position right now. I would say Tony Pollard is better than DeAndre Swift. Made his first Pro Bowl. Swift is injury prone. He hasn't exceeded over 700 and something yards in a season. Those 3 categories, we are head and shoulders above Philly. And Colin Cowherds says their corners are better. Our cornerbacks, I would say, tip the scale on their cornerbacks. Gilmore is the real deal. He's been Defensive Player of the Year. He doesn't have the physical intangibles he had in 2018, but it's only been 5 years since that season. He is still a top 10 corner, PFF rated. You got Diggs on the other side, who is still getting better and very opportunistic. And you got DeRon Bland, who just grew out of nowhere last season in the slot. James Bradbury is a good corner, but even since the days when he was playing with the Giants, we were burning him week in and week out, the 2 games that we played. And now that he's with the Eagles, it's no different. We still burning him week in and week out, the 2 games that we play him. Darius Slay, Christmas Eve, had trouble with T.Y. Hilton. T.Y. Hilton's 2 plays that won the game, basically, 4th and 8, runs a beautiful out pattern to where Slay has to grab him, gets the first down with a PI call, and then gets the 3rd and 30 on Darius Slay. I would take Diggs, Gilmore, and Bland over Slay, Bradbury, and Maddox. Personally, I would. I think the combination of those 3, and how they complement each other, is better than the other 3. Instead of pressing pause, I accidentally press the back button. And I'm going to get to... So, I'm going to break this down real quick for y'all. It won't take long. Just give me 1 second, guys. A little bit of patience. Just want to hear what the rest that he has to say. Cowherd, the genius that he thinks that he is.
An okay one. So nowhere on offense are the Cowboys. Nowhere. What about...
We'll let him finish his little spiel.
But tell me where Dallas is. I'm not saying that Micah Parsons may not be the best player between the 2 teams. That could be possible. But I'm saying find me a unit where Dallas is clearly better. It doesn't exist. That's why Philadelphia went toe-to-toe. Philadelphia got rid of some defensive players. It's still an excellent defense.
They've crushed the draft the last few years.
Now they tend to do that.
I don't think it's close. All right, next up, DeAndre Hopkins watched...
Philly crushes the draft. They crushed the draft last year. They tend to do that. You know what? So do we. We tend to crush the draft. And we don't need 2 first-round picks to do it either. We crush the draft in the 1st round, 2nd round, usually the 3rd round, the 4th round, the 5th round. We really crushed it last season. So, when Tank Lawrence is talking about closing the gap between the 2, last season, the gap wasn't even that wide to begin with. They had an all-star team. They were signing everybody, their mama, Tupac, and Biggie. Right before the season started, they traded for Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, a last-minute addition to go into that secondary. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson led the NFL in interceptions. Huge trade before the season. They went out, signed Bradbury, which was a lot better than the corner that they had opposite Slay. They went out, got depth with Linville Joseph. Ndamukong Suh was just, to help, in the rotation. They're 2 big first-round additions. Jordan Davis and Nakobe Dean were no-shows. Jordan Davis out of shape. First-round pick, gets his money. Doesn't seem like he's too focused on football. Nakobe Dean comes off of injury. They don't trust him to take the field. Our guy, Damone Clark, who we got in the 5th, about the same time, was healthy enough to play. And we put him in, and he played. He played very well, too. Damone Clark in the 5th round was a bigger steal than Nakobe Dean in the 3rd round. Nakobe Dean was surrounded by NFL players, all 4 defensive linemen, first-round guys. The 2 linebackers on each side of them, first-rounders. So, yeah, it's going to make it a lot easy for him to look good when he's surrounded by NFL players. Damone Clark on his defense had one guy go in the 1st round, a cornerback from LSU. Yeah, of course, he played for LSU. Cornerback that went to Houston. Other than that, he didn't have that much to work with. And he wore that special number 18, and he balled out big time. So, in the offseason, even though last season we were neck and neck, we split games, Our quarterback wasn't playing game 1. Their quarterback wasn't playing game 2. We split games. If we don't blow the 2 leads that we had, which we blew them, that was our fault. If we don't do that, we go into the Christmas Eve game, and they maybe have to force Hurts to play with that busted up shoulder. And he got that shoulder as it was because of running the ball so much. And if he had played Christmas Eve, it could have gotten worse for him, a lot worse. But being that we blew the lead against Jacksonville the week before and Green Bay a month before, they kind of let him off the hook. Our draft and develop team was basically neck and neck with that all-star team that they had. So in the offseason, they lose defensive tackle Javon Hargrave. This is defense. They lose free safety Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, led the league in interceptions. They lose his strong safety Marcus Epps. They lose their Mike linebacker TJ Edwards, who was 7th in the league in tackles, 6th in solo. They lose their weak side linebacker Kazir White. They lose their nose tackle Linville Joseph. On offense, they lose Pro Bowl running back Miles Sanders, who had, 1,269 yards on the ground, almost 5 yards a carry, just about. And what do you have, 11 tubs? That's just rushing. And big old right guard Isaac Samalu. Those are the guys that they lost in the offseason. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 defensive starters and 2 offensive starters. It's 8 guys, 8 difference makers on your team. So Philly, they do a good job in replenishing their roster. I give them that. But let's look at it. With their top pick, they picked Jalen Carter to supplant Javon Hargrave. Javon Hargrave, as of right now, is a much better player than Jalen Carter coming out of Georgia as a rookie. Hargrave had 12 sacks. He was able to collapse the pocket in the middle, and on top of that, be a run-stuffing defensive tackle. He is the all-around real deal. That's why the Niners gave him the bag, $80 million 4 years. He was the first day, snatched up. San Fran knew what they wanted to do. They wanted to be like the 2000 Ravens, just like Micah Parsons wants to. So, I say Hargrave is the better player. Jalen Carter is going to be his replacement. Like I said, good, but not as good as Hargrave is or, will be this season. So, they lose a little bit on that position. That position goes down a little bit in productivity. Free safety, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, interception leader of the NFL last season. Reed Blankenship is now going to be playing in his spot. That is a downgrade also. CJG is a much better safety than Reed Blankenship is. Strong safety, Mike Epps. Marcus Epps, I mean. Terrell Edmonds, who they got from Pittsburgh, will take over at strong safety over Marcus Epps. That is to be determined. I think they're pretty equal. I don't think they lose a whole lot with Marcus Epps, being that they got Edmonds to take his spot. Mike linebacker, TJ Edwards, who was balling last season, is going to be supplanted by Nakobe Dean. He is their new Mike linebacker. Boy is still green. Season 2, still green. TJ Edwards is the better player as of right now and going into this season than Nakobe Dean. So you got decline at Mike linebacker now. Weak side linebacker, Kazir White, is replaced by Nicholas Morrow. Nicholas Morrow, 6 seasons, pretty much, what Kazir White was. Pretty much a wash. There's really not much of a decline there. Now, here's the toughie, nose tackle, Linval Joseph, who when Philly picked him up, played really, really good at nose tackle. Now he's gone. Jordan Davis is the nose tackle. Is he going to be in shape this season? Is he going to show what he was supposed to be last year? I don't know. Linval Joseph did a good job last season at nose tackle for Philly. As of right now, that looks like a downgrade. But to be determined, we'll see. Miles Sanders, he's gone. They trade for Swift, DeAndre Swift, running back number 1. That's a downgrade. Miles Sanders is a better back than DeAndre Swift any day of the week. And Isaac Samalu, who has departed, is being replaced by second-year center Cam Jurgens, who can flex to guard. So he's never played an NFL snap. That's a question mark. We don't know. Cam Jurgens could be the next Landon Dickerson, or he could be the next, bust. We'll see. But if you look at the defense, losing to Hargrave, you downgrade by getting Jalen Carter. You didn't get anybody better. Losing to Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Reed Blankenship, downgrade. Edmonds and Epps, a wash. TJ Edwards, Nakobe Dean, downgrade. Kazir White, Nicholas Morrow, pretty much a wash. Right now, I would take Linval Joseph over Jordan Davis. I would say small downgrade. Swift, a big downgrade from Miles Sanders. And Cam Jurgens, we don't know. Who do we lose this offseason? On defense, we let Anthony Brown walk. We let Anthony Barr walk. And we didn't re-sign Carlos Watkins. On offense, we let go of Ezekiel Elliott. We cut him. We let Connor McGovern walk. We let Dalton Schultz walk. McGovern goes to Buffalo. Schultz goes to Houston. So our replacements. For Anthony Brown, we have Stephon Gilmore to replace him. Upgrade at that position. Anthony Barr, who has never had a single season accolade, is being supplanted by a cornerback who's a 5-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, 1-time Defensive Player of the Year. Still a top 10 corner. Linebacker Anthony Barr, who we didn't re-sign, replaced by Damone Clark. An upgrade. Barr's play last year was subpar to below average. Damone Clark had a spark and looked good last season. And going into year 2, I think he'll be the quarterback of the defense come into the season. I think he'll be better than the Wolf Hunter, even though the Wolf Hunter's playing weak side. Damone Clark will be Mike, and he'll be quarterback in this defense like he did at LSU. And defensive line, Carlos Watkins, we lost. He's basically being replaced by Valemi Fehoko, 4th rounder. That's a question mark. We don't know. Valemi Fehoko, 270 at draft, might be around 300 come season time. Defensive end, defensive tackle, just like Watkins. I'd pretty much say that's a wash. Offense, Elliott's gone. TP's our new running back number 1. Made the Pro Bowl. I think Pollard's capable of a 1,000-yard receiving and rushing season, like Marshall Faulk did. And one other person did also. That's an upgrade at running back. Just got to sign a power back. Tony Pollard's leg is healed already. He could play and practice right now if he wants to. He's just being precautionary. Come training camp, he'll be in pads. He won't play in preseason. Why would you do that? But he's going to come back 100%. He's not going to miss a beat. Says he feels faster. As of right now, Connor McGovern, who we let walk, as of right now on the depth chart, is replaced by Tyler Smith. That is a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade. As my previous video said, if we have a good swing tackle, well, let's go Aduga, Richards. Then we can go with that 5 with Ty Smith being left tackle. So Tyler Smith, the left guard, huge upgrade over Connor McGovern. Tight end Dalton Schultz goes to Houston. Jake Ferguson, I think this season will be as good as Dalton Schultz was last year and the year before. Some people think Shoemaker is going to be the guy that's going to be the plug-and-play all-star tight end for us. I think Jake Ferguson has got the eye of the tiger. I think he's something special about this kid. It just, there's something about him, the way he plays, his athleticism, his nose for the end zone. He's going to be Travis Kelce 2.0. Mark my words when I tell you this. This kid is going to be special. Very, very special. So right now, our projected depth charts going into the season. Philly's offensive line. You got Jordan Mailata, left tackle. Landon Dickerson, left guard. Jason Kelce, center. Cam Jurgens, right guard. Lane Johnson, right tackle. Dallas Goedert at tight end. The three receivers, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins. Quez is their speed guy. Running back, DeAndre Swift. Our offensive depth chart as of right now. Left tackle, Ty Smith. Left guard, Tyler Smith. Center, Tyler Biadasz. Right guard, Zach Morton. If healthy, at week 1, right tackle, Terrence Steele. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Gallup, and Cooks. Running back, Tony Pollard. As of right now, tight end 1, Jake Ferguson. Those offenses don't seem too far off from each other, as Cowherd seems to allude to. Not even close. If Ty Smith, who missed 6 games in 2021, if he could just miss 6 games this season, 5 or 6, just say he misses 5 or 6, and we have Matt Willetsko, or we have a decent swing tackle that can plug in at the left tackle position, play at a good level, and keep us afloat, we'll be in good shape, especially if Tyron Smith goes into the postseason in good shape. This season, like they said, Wednesdays, he won't practice, neither will Zach. They really don't need the reps. They'll be getting their rest. Defensive depth chart as of right now. Philly, this is 4-3 scheme. Philly, from left to right defensive line. Brandon Graham at end, Jalen Carter at tackle, Fletcher Cox at tackle, Josh Sweat at tackle. Mike linebacker, Nakobe Dean, weak side linebacker, Nicholas Morrow, and strong side linebacker, Hassan Reddick. 2 corners, Bradbury and Slay. The 2 safeties, Blankenship and Edmonds. Their slot corner, Avonte Maddox, when they're in the nickel defense. Their rotation on the defensive line behind Josh Sweat, whenever they have a 2 linebacker set, you're going to have Hassan Reddick on the edge. Behind Fletcher Cox is Milt Williams. Behind Jalen Carter is Jordan Davis. And behind Brandon Graham is Nick Barnett. And probably the rookie Nolan Smith will get some playing time. Our defensive depth chart. From left to right. Left end, Tank Lawrence. Defensive tackle, Mozzie Smith. Defensive tackle, O.C. Adigizua. Right defensive end, Micah Parsons. The 3 linebackers. Mike linebacker, Nemo Clark. Weak side, Wolf Hunter. Strong side, Jabril Cox, as of right now. Starting 2 corners, Gilmore and Diggs. Starting 2 safeties, free safety, Donovan Wilson. Strong safety, J. Ron Curse. Our slot corner, as you all know, is Deron Bland. And our third safety that we use a lot, Malik Hooker. Our rotation on our defensive line, behind Tank, you got Sam Williams. Behind Mozzie, you got Jonathan Hankins. Behind OC, you got Neville Gallimore and big boy Quentin Bohanna. Behind Micah Parsons, you got Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler. So, looking at the defense, I would say they have the edge in the interior. If Jalen Carter and or Jordan Davis can be what they were hyped up to be. If they can be, because if not, it's just Fletcher Cox. If Jordan Davis is Jordan Davis of last year, this year, they ain't no damn good. Now, as of edge guys, they've got Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick, Brandon Graham, Nick Barnett, and rookie Nolan Smith. Our edge guys, you got Tank Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Sam Williams, Dante Fowler, Dorrance Armstrong. I think our edge rushers pretty much equal. I think our corners, I would say, to be fair, are equal. I mean, I think our corners have a slight edge, but we'll just say equal. When it comes to safeties, our safeties compared to theirs is no question mark. We are head and shoulders above. When it comes to linebackers, our linebacking core is no question head and shoulders above. Our defense is better than their defense. It'll finish probably number one this season. I would not doubt that. On offense, Jalen Hurts is not going to carry the ball 20 times a game this season. He did last year. That was the key to their success. Him carrying the ball 20 times a game on average. He cannot sustain that going into his fourth season. Now being that they got $50 million on him. They can't afford for him to go down, especially with a shoulder injury on his throwing shoulder. Expect Hurts to run less. That means he'll pass more. Offensive line is still good. Offensive line is better than our offensive line. But if Tyron Smith can stay healthy and miss 3 games like he did from 2016 through 2019. If Tyron Smith just misses 3 games, then I don't know. That offensive line, and Terrence Steele comes back and he's pretty much who he was last season. That offensive line is pretty close. You can't say it's not. Tyron and Tyler, and then Zach Martin and Steele, that's a strong left and right side just like they have. Except they have the better center in Jason Kelsey. Tyler Biadasz hasn't been playing that bad, and he's on a contract year. Their right guard is a rookie, Cam Jurgens. Our right guard is a first ballot Hall of Famer. At receiver, they got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, speed guy. We've got CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, who will be 100% this year, and Brandon Cooks, our speed guy. Wide receivers, I think, are even, a wash. I'll give their offensive line the better of ours. Even if ours is healthy, their offensive line, since they've been playing together for so long also, that cohesion, you can say it's better. If we bring back Zeke or just a power back, and that with Deuce Vaughn and Tony Pollard, our running backs are better than their running back room with DeAndre Swift, Boston Scott, and the other cat. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, if it comes down to it, see, defensive line is a wash, right? Linebackers. We're head and shoulders better at linebacker. Cornerback, wash. We're head and shoulders better at safety. So, out of the 2 of the 4 positions on defense, we're better. The other 2, equal. On offense, they have a better offensive line. The receivers, a wash. Running backs, I think we win that contest. Tight ends, I think we win that contest because we got 3 good ones right now. They have one really excellent one, but they're second, third, and fourth. They're not very deep at tight end. We are. So I think even though they got Goddard, we got Ferguson, Hendershot, and the second round pick Schoonmaker and McEwen. I think our tight ends are better. And I got to see Jalen Hurts play quarterback without running the ball 20 times a game before I can say he's better than Dak Prescott. Dak threw 15 picks last season, 17 total, counting the playoffs. That happened. He's never done that before. He averages, throughout his career, 9 interceptions a year. If Dak throws 9 picks this season, just like Mike Fisher said, we're going to win the division, have a very good shot at the number 1 seed. There's not a very big gap between these two teams. They are even. I'll just say they're even so nobody will shoot me with a butter knife. Personally, I think we have a slight edge. Especially with all the all-pro guys and Pro Bowlers that they lost. But if anything, these two teams are even. And if our rookies from last year make a step forward, because they looked good last year, their rookies didn't. Ours did. And if our rookies this year play like our rookies did last year, that's going to be big time. Big time. So, there is no huge gap. Colin Cowherd he doesn't know what he's talking about. He has no idea what he's talking about. Kellen Moore's gone. Mike McCarthy. He says McCarthy and guy from Philly are a wash. I think McCarthy let Kellen Moore go. He has a reason for it. Because when Dak was struggling with throwing interceptions, why was Kellen Moore saying, hey, let's keep throwing it 50 times a game? We're going to get back to running the ball, run first, 60-40, like that. Play tough defense. We win time of possession. Mike McCarthy understands this. He knows what Dak is. He knows that Dak is a great game manager. We hold on to the ball, win time of possession. Dak makes the throws when he needs to. Doesn't need to force nothing. Our defense stays fresh. Goes out, gets 3 and outs. We're going to be a tough out. It's going to be a 2-team race, really. Cowboys and Philly. San Fran, quarterback problems. Dark horses, Seattle, Detroit, and I think Chicago. Especially if Chicago somehow gets DeAndre Hopkins. I think Chicago could be a team to look out for. Big time. Because what they got for that number 1 overall pick, just to go down 8 picks, was insane. And now they got DJ Moore, a true number 1 with Chase Claypool, and Justin Fields, who broke the single-season quarterback rushing record. More than Michael Vick, more than Lamar Jackson. But I said this before, and I'll say it again. This roster is as good as a roster as I've seen since '95, when I was in the 3rd grade. And we opened that year against the Giants. Second play from scrimmage, Emmett took it to the house, untouched, 80 yards. He got touched at the very end because he slowed up. But he got to the end zone. And we waxed them 35-0, week 1. Week 1 this season, I'm expecting us to wax the Giants week 1, just to let the NFL know we're still here. We haven't won 12 games, back-to-back seasons, since 94-95. That's not easy to do. And we've gotten better. Just like Philly got better from 2020 to 2021 last year, so have we. 2020, losing season. 2021, 12-5, wild card, one and done. Last year, 12-5, wild card, route Tampa Bay, go to San Fran, lose our best explosive player, and lose a 7-point game. But now we have Brandon Cooks, and we have insurance now. So if a Tony Pollard goes down in the postseason, we just don't have CeeDee Lamb to throw to and a one-legged Michael Gallup. We got Brandon Cooks, Gallup 100%. This batch of young tight ends who are eager to make plays, and Malik Davis. I want to see what that cat can do. That's it for this episode, guys. Please hit that red subscribe button. I implore you to do it. Help me to get to 1,000 by week 1 this season, guys. It can be done. I need like 660, something like that. As many people that watch these videos throughout all this time, just hit that red subscribe button. That's all I ask you to do, and I will bring you the best content I can bring you. And I will never bring you nothing half-ass. I guarantee you that. Keep God first and foremost. He comes before everything, even this. Seek Him in His righteousness, and everything else in your life will fall into place. I guarantee you that I'm a living testimony of that. Keep it real, Cowboy fans. Have a good weekend. Don't do nothing crazy. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. DC for life. Before I go, guys, if y'all can just implore me, if y'all can just indulge me, if you haven't yet, I'm trying to get to your thick skull. This channel is going to be a diamond. On the count of 3, everybody hit that red subscribe button. 1, 2, 3. Boom, we've hit it. If you did it, you're a real one. I love you for it. And on that like button on 3, guys, help me on 1, 2, 3. Like button is hit. If you did it, you're a real one, and I love you for it. And if you watch all the way to the end, you're a real one, and I love you for that. Because this is content, study, and just getting pissed off about what I'm hearing people say about it ain't even close. It's not even close. It was a 2-game separation, 14-3 to 12-5 last year. And the 2 games were because we blew 2 leads. That was on us. Now having a quarterback number 2 had a big part to do with that also. Now we do have one. And not having a receiver to take the top off the defense, now we have one. Haven't had one since Joey Galloway. That's 20 years ago. 03 was his last season with us. 04, we traded him to Tampa for Keyshawn Johnson. So that's it, guys, for this episode. I catch you on the flip side. Hopefully my next video will be us making some trade we didn't see coming, like the Gilmore trade, or signing a free agent I'd like to bring in, like Reisner or Elliott or somebody. We'll see what's up. But until then, guys, keep it cool, calm, be safe. I'll catch you on the flip side. Charles and Charges out.